Hello, everybody. You're back at Tpull's Corner with me, Travis, and we are waiting for Magic Arena to find somebody who can beat us because we're in the middle of this series called 12 Days of Bloomburrow, and today we're dealing with the mice. And evidently, we win too much with the mice, so when that happens, Arena waits and waits and waits until they can find someone somewhere who can beat us. But we're on day 6. Day 6 is the mice. I don't have a 1-drop, do I? So it's okay to play the tap land. And we've already had a massively disgusting experience today. And by that I mean I've only played a handful of rounds and already I've been flooded a couple times and starved once for land and gone up against decks facing nothing but entirely mythic rares off of the first 4, 5, 6 turns. Or flyer decks. All flyer decks tend to be pretty good against us. I probably should have put the double strike on the 3 power instead of the 1 power creature. We'll see if that bites us. Removal already. But we can put down Brambleguard Captain. And now we give the power to the mouse, and we give the double strike to the mouse. And there's 6 more points of damage on turn 4. What number do you choose? They choose number 2. Number 2 is the wrong number. Do we take the life? No. We don't take the life-giving land. Instead, we put out another Brambleguard Captain. Oh, the power was 2, so that still works against them. Okay. Let's see. So we'll make this 4. We'll make this big. We'll give this double strike. And that's enough to attack with both of them. They've got a block with 1. I was looking at the mana cost, but this works for mana value, power, or toughness, so anything that was 2. Which, I like this card. I need to make some more decks out of that. Ah, my mouse is now a legitimate business person. How nice. Let's try the Veteran Guard mouse. And let's do heavy strength here. And so they have to block over here. But in the meantime, I can also do this. Perfectly lethal damage. And that's the power of the mouse. Alright, let's go in. Oops, not to packs. Let's go in here. I'm not getting tricky with the names. This deck is simply called Mice. And you can see it's a very cheap deck. Average is 2.4. Still keeping it at 24 lands. We got 28 creatures, which is a couple more than I usually do because I wanted to put as many mice in here as I could. So here's what we got. We've got a Bravekin Duo, so this is a rabbit and a mouse. 1/1, you can spend 1 to tap it. Target creature of your choice gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Flowerfoot Swordmaster. This is a 1/2 with the offspring, so if I pay 3, I can get 2 creatures. The 1/2 and the 1/1 baby mouse you see pictured to the right. They both have the Valiant ability. Whenever it becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time, something good happens. In this case, all mice you control get +1 until end of the turn. 4 copies of Heartfire Hero, who is one of the more effective mice in the entire deck, gets a +1/+1 counter every time it's the target of a spell or ability. For the first time, though. First time only. When it dies, deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. Notice it's not just the one opponent, it's each opponent, so this is designed for Commander format. Might of the Meek. Target creature gains trample until end of turn. It also gets +1 if you control a mouse, and you get to draw a card. So I feel good with this as one of my little combat tricks just because it replaces itself. For interaction, I only have 4 cards. Cooped Up to make sure they can't attack or block and exile it. 1 Exercise to get rid of an artifact, enchantment, or a creature with power 4 or greater. And 2 of the Not on My Watch so that I can exile target attacking creatures. That's it. So it's not a lot of interaction. It's very minimal in a place where people are recommending you do, at least 7, and that's just in limited format. And constructed, it's more like 10 to 13. 4 copies of Manifold Mouse. We can offspring this if we have 4 to pay for it. You'll notice I haven't saved up for the offspring yet. This is a very quick deck. It's a very cheap deck. And offspring's like a kicker type of thing. So if I have it, I'm going to spend it. If I have the extra mana later, then I'll consider doing the offspring. But for the most part, if I've got just the 2 mana, I'm going to play the mouse. I'm not going to save it for later. But anyway, a target mouse gains double strike or trample. Raging Battle Mouse. And hang on, sorry for that. Let me cancel that out. I've got my friend inviting my son to play a game or something, and he won't stop. So they're having their own fun in another room right now. Raging Battle Mouse is from Wilds of Eldraine, actually. The second spell you cast each turn costs 1 less to cast. If we end up with a small amount of land, this deck is cheap enough that just the fact of giving 1 cheaper for another spell lets me do 2 spells a turn instead of 1 on sometimes. But 2/1 Mouse with Celebration. If 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battle, target creature control gets +1/+1. Whisker Quill Scribe. Say that 3 times fast. A 2/2 Mouse Citizen. With Valiant, if it becomes a target, you can discard a card, and if you do, you draw a card. 1 Mouse Trapper. Get a 3/2 with Flash. Tap target creature and opponent controls. But in order to do this, you have to be able to target the Mouse Trapper itself with a spell or ability, so keep that in mind. Thistledown Players. 3/3 for 3. Whenever it attacks, untap target non-land permanent. Here's another Eldraine card. It's an Enchantment Saga. 3 Blind Mice. Just because I was looking for other mice besides in Bloomburrow. And we can get some mouse creature tokens here. Chapters 2 and 3 create copies of target tokens. You do have to keep in mind we don't want to copy the Cragflame because that's a legendary artifact. We'd only be able to keep 1 copy. So you're probably going to be copying the mice as opposed to anything else. And then on Chapter 4, creatures you control, that's all creatures, get +1/+1 in Vigilance until end of turn. Roughshod Duo, we've used this before. It's a mouse and a raccoon. You can see them both pictured there. It's a 3/2 with Trample, and whenever you expend 4, target creature gets +1/+1 in Trample. And Trample can save your bacon in these matches. Valley Flamecaller we've also used before. It's actually a lizard, but all 4 of the creature types, lizard, mouse, otter, raccoon, whenever they deal damage to either to a permanent or a player, it deals that much damage +1 instead. 4 copies of Mabel, Heir to Cragflame. It's a legendary mouse soldier. 3/3. This is our mouse lord. Other mice you control get +1/+1. When it enters, you create the Cragflame, legendary token you see to the right. Costs 2 to equip it, but every creature that's equipped with it gets +1, has Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. Next up, Seedglaive Mentor. Vigilance and Haste, and it's got the same Valiant effect as Heartfire Hero does when it's the object of a spell or ability each time you get for the first time each turn. It gets a +1/+1 counter. Instead of dealing damage when it dies, though, you pay the extra mana and you get Vigilance and Haste out of it. 1 Patchwork Banner, we declare mice. All the mice get +1/+1. Nice little mana dork there. 4 copies of Brambleguard Captain. This is one of my favorites. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature, it doesn't even have to be a mouse. Target creature gets +X, where X is the Brambleguard Captain's power. And then Veteran Guard Mouse, just 1 copy of it. When it becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, it gets +1 to power and gains first strike until end of turn, and you get to scry 1. For our lands, Lupinflower Village, I can spend it only to cast creature spells if you want it to be white mana, but you can sacrifice it and get a mouse from off the top 6 cards in your library. Rockface Village, spend 1 red, and target gets +1 to their power and gains haste. We do have one Restless Bivouac, so this is not a mouse. We can make a 2/2 white ox creature. And one Demolition Field to take care of their special lands. That is it. And you notice this is not necessarily the Max-Min gamer strategy, right? This is not... We're not going into ranked and trying to grind our way to Mythic with this deck. This is more for the newer players to show you don't need to have all the Mythic rares, right? You don't need to burn all your wild cards right away. You can just do what I did. You open up a bunch of packs of Bloomburrow, and you go up to the search bar and you type in mouse, and you put all the mice that you can find into one deck. And you end up with a pretty fun deck. And because the designers for Bloomburrow decided they wanted to try and get all 10 major animal types to sort of be balanced against each other, so far, as you've seen in this series, this is day 6 of the 12 Days of Bloomburrow. All the previous ones, whether it's been otters or raccoons or birds, they have all acquitted themselves well. All the decks have performed very well overall, such that with the release of Foundations, they've released a couple of different Elf Lords, so you can have like four copies of each of the 2 Elf Lords, right? So you can have 8 chances to put something down that gives every elf a +1/+1. And that makes them hard to beat. We were used to that in Historic for quite a while. But decks like this can actually beat the Elf deck. You usually have to beat them quicker, or if they last too long, they'll beat you. But it can be done. What do they consider to be the most 3 blind mice? Out of everything that they're going to get rid of, they choose to get rid of that one. Okay. First blood is ours. Is this going to be a discard deck? We can get rid of that with Demolition Field easy enough. And black has some removal where they just do minus power, minus toughness, so they could, if they have the right cards, this won't do any damage when it dies if they just remove, if they do negative health to it, negative toughness. Is this mono black or is there blue in there? Because they're taking their own sweet time on this. Okay, so they just exile it, so they don't lose anything to that. Here I think we just go, we use all of the energy we can. Why is this not going? Go. There we go. Because this will put Heartfire Hero up to 2, so if they have a different type of removal and they just kill it or damage it enough to kill it, then we can still do damage to the opponent's face. Nope, it's a -3/-3, but they go after Mabel this time. That makes sense. Oh look, it's another Mabel. We don't care if there's a replacement here. We missed a land drop. They can see we can't even cast one of our cards still. Unstoppable Slasher! Well, this is a problem. Let's just attack with this. Not the right land color I wanted, but I'll take it. Okay, so 4 damage to the opponent's face. This comes down. We use Demolition Field to get rid of Soulstone Sanctuary, and now we go get a Plains so that we can power up Not on My Watch when we need to. And why not? I'll bring this out now. Not saving for the Offspring because we already have a spell we can cast next turn. They've had a couple of removals already and a discard. And a potential game ender. And they just have another potential game ender. Let's see. This is when it attacks. I think it's okay to put this down. And now we just attack with both of those. Yeah, it's got to stop the one that causes the most damage. That's 2 unstoppable slashers. What else you got? They're not missing a land drop. Wow. Can we get past that? Yes, we can. This will work. Okay, so they've got a block there because that's lethal damage. We get 3 points of damage in. We'll go ahead and play this out. Removal. Removal. They had exactly everything they needed, didn't they? And they didn't do anything. Pass. They got 3 in a row. 3 unstoppable slashers in a row. Sacrifice this. Let's go look for something. Yeah, I guess we take that. Okay, I'm hoping that's not a removal spell. They've got a lot of... Oh, hello. They just get a whole demon out of it. Yeah, I think we're toast. Let that get through. Down to 3. Nettle Guard is not that good. Double strike, I guess? We can't get through with that. Alright. We're dead from that. They got 3 unstoppable slashers. And 2 6/6 flyers. That is an impressive draw for the opponent. They ran out of ammo, but they didn't need anything more. They got exactly everything they needed at exactly the right time to stave off their death. Which, if we'd had a little bit more time, if it had been something other than the Unstoppable Slasher, which deletes half your health, it was possible we could have found a way to hold on. But, you know, if you have ways to get rid of 2 Unstoppable Slashers, then Arena will feed you a 3rd one just to take out Travis, because that's what Arena does. I don't have a persecution complex at all. Aww. Is that worth giving me 2 map tokens out of? Evidently. Definitely delays me for the first couple turns, doesn't it? Get rid of that. 2 can play that game. Never mind, they just have another one. Alright, we'll use up all of our energy. Opponent is not missing a land drop. Neither are we just yet. Urbrass Forge. I have been coming up against... This is the third game already today. Urbrass Forge, especially early on, within the first 5 turns. It's never coming out on turn 6 or 10 or 12 or 15. It's always like turn 3, 4, or 5. And now they get the draw trigger each time. That's going to give them twice as much card draw as us for the rest of the game. Which puts intense pressure on us all of a sudden. It's hard to feel the pressure when they're taking this long to consider doing anything. Hello? Should we feed the animals? Cooped up. That's a good one. They'll take care of any other creatures. As it is, we're able to pump our power up to 6. Do they have defense against that? It looks like they do. But his toughness is 4. If they have a damage 3 card only, that won't get us. Okay. And his total is 7 because the flame color adds 1 point of damage. And if they're looking at putting down a creature, they already know it's not going to work.
So long as I am by your side, you will be protected.
We'll use Cooped Up on that. We don't care. Or maybe just Might of the Meek. Now they have 2 of them. Well, that's a problem. Yeah, why not? We'll do 1 there. Do 1 here. And attack here with the power. And let's just take that out entirely. +1 and trample. Yes. That is 1 dead planeswalker.
Finish what we started.
Oh, another color. Ugh. Okay, but they are tapped out, right? Okay, they could see that we drew Mabel, so this won't be a surprise to them. Down to 5. You almost don't mind if they have removal because they don't know we have another Mabel. We can do exactly the same thing. There's 10 points. I need a way to do 1 more point of damage. Or else they'll just kill me next turn. What I have in my hand is not good enough to do 1 more point of damage. So I can't really afford to draw a land. Oh shoot, I should have blocked that, right? Would that have mattered? No, because that would have been 12 the next turn with trample. No, I still would have died even if I'd have blocked. Ah, they got the land though to transform this. And that is not enough. We could get this but we no longer have enough time to put it down. So I can attack with this and do 1 point with the trample damage if they chump block. Okay, got him down to 4. I need to survive one more turn. With doubling season in this, I need to use Not on My Watch against one of those. What is this, level 2? They could give that, they could make him +2/+2. Are you kidding me? You know what? We're still good, right? No, we're not. They can transform one of these. And they get 2 of these. They had exactly what they needed to kill us. Even though we exile 1, that's still lethal. It was like they were engineered to defeat our deck. Let's try one more. They had so many enchantments and artifacts they could set up in the background, and I did not have nearly enough ways to deal with them. And you get in so close. Just 4 more points. We would have gotten it. Why does the opponent still get to go first when I keep losing? For those of you who are longtime subscribers, January started slow. I had a funeral service to attend for a family member, and then right after that I got sent out of town for my day job. So I have not been around the last week. So it is not your imagination. We have not had anywhere near the normal number of videos that we would expect to have for the month of January so far. But family and job take priority. It's all the real life stuff. Let's try this again. Our deck is cheap enough that Tiny Bones is a problem for us. Let's do that to it. The Punisher, eh? Okay. Give this a +1, give it double strike, and then have it attack. They take the trade, and we still do 2 damage to the opponent's face. They figured that was a good enough trade-off. I kind of need them to put out a big creature and attack me at this point. That is not the creature I wanted them to attack with. They might not attack at all. Okay, so we do this. We just hit next. We give this double strike. Sure, I guess we take that. And then we attack with it. And that's going to be 8 points of damage. Are they going to chump block with... Oh, wow. They are. Here, let's do this. Still get our nice big high points of damage in. And you can come down now. And can we pay the full? We can. We got lots of land this time. Sweet. If they have a board wipe, we're in trouble. We actually did better on drawing land than our opponent for a change. Now, out of all these, I have 3 that have the Valiant capability, but I only have 1 effect right now. If I had... Oh, yeah, sure, you can come through. What do I care? 2 points of damage? Oh, this is what I need. And we will target this puppy. Trigger, 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 trigger. And attack for... It doesn't matter. The first strike killed him already. That was going to be a lot of stuff. Did I say 1 more? What's 1 more after that? These animal games, using the Tpulls from Bloomburrow, makes for a fairly quick game sometimes. So, you know, maybe 6-7 turns, sometimes 4 or 5. I think there can be a lot of petering out if your opponent gets out a really big bomb that you just don't have the ability to take care of. It might suddenly look hopeless, but some of these have some good lasting power too that you could go into a mid game. I was sure I was going to get to go first at least once. Let's play the tape back. How many times did I actually get to go first in this entire thing? If you hear any shrieks or yelling in the background, that's my son. He's homesick. Sounds real sick, doesn't he? Being sick did not stop him from getting on the laptop and playing with his friends all day. And let's see. I think we play the Manifold Mouse. Actually, let me put out the Heartfire Hero first. Heartfire Hero should die quickly. And we got a Reanimator deck. So this could be a very short game. We attack with haste. All possible haste. Because that was Atraxa, right? So none of my watch might stop Atraxa, but not everything else that Atraxa is going to bring with it. Everything's coming in tapped. Just enough they didn't want to chump block. And they still need 4. They got 3 lands there. And that might be their 4th land because they didn't throw it into the graveyard. So we're kind of out of time here already, aren't we? I don't think we can get through this. Although this will give somebody trample. Alright, let's try it. Offspring. Full pay. We can go ahead and put this down, I guess, now. Do this. Do this. We'll give trample to that. We'll give... Oh, hello. Did they not have the 4th land? Was that going to kill them? Let's see. Trample was only 5. I wouldn't have had enough to kill them. These two couldn't attack. Interesting. They just gave up. That's weird. They had they had Atraxa in the graveyard. They had the card they needed on the surface already, able to bring it back in a single turn. And they just surveilled so that they could get an untapped land. So I'm not sure why they were that afraid. But that's the deck. You can beat Atraxa reanimation decks if you move fast enough. Love Hardfire Hero. I tend to think it might be overpowered just because you don't just get a 1/1 for 1 that when it dies it deals damage. You get a 1/1 with Valiant that also dies when it deals this damage. So it gives itself a way to increase its power. It's a really self-contained kind of bomb if it lasts long enough. Manifold Mouse, I made sure to include 4 drops in. I love that one as well, especially if you can afford the Offspring and do either 2 double strikes or 2 tramples. Brambleguard Captain, giving power to somebody else, doesn't even have to be a mouse. And then the other biggest one is I put Mabel in. And Mabel, Mabel's not my favorite. I probably, out of the rank of those 4, I probably put Mabel as 4th. And the other 3 I would put higher on my favorite list. But those are the ones that I really liked. Those are the ones that I included the most. And you saw, even though we only had 4 removal cards, 4 interaction cards, they didn't always come up. They didn't come up... They came up often, I'd say. But they didn't always come up exactly when we needed them to. But we have so many creatures with 28 creatures. It would have been nice to see Patchwork Banner come into play and help us out every now and then. Come on, Patchwork Banner. That's our slacker artifact for the deck. Was the mice. What do you think? Leave a comment. And again, remember, for you newer players, I didn't spend any wild cards to make this deck. Okay, I just cracked open. I won. I played Magic every day. Sometimes I get my 15 wins in and get all the rewards. Sometimes I'd only have time for 3 to 5 games a day. But eventually I got 4 Mabels. Eventually I got 4 Brambleguards. Eventually I got 4 Heartfire Heroes. And when I did, I put them all together in a mouse deck. So you don't need to worry about necessarily burning all your mythic rares or something like that. You can just go ahead and crack open some packs. And Bloomburrow, especially for the animal Tpulls, there's 10 different choices there. And put together a reasonably fast-paced, competitive deck and just have some fun with it. I think they did pretty good in terms of the design team. They were balanced against each other. And I think there's an argument that you could make looking at some of these things that possibly they went overboard and there's been a little power creep here. I know they're always trying to pretend there's not, but there is. But regardless, they kind of made sure that if there was power creep, there was kind of power creep in every animal set to try and make they overpower all the others. So what are you guys thinking of Bloomburrow so far? Do you like the way they balanced out the set? Do you like the way that the animals worked out? I've heard nothing but good things as far as the theme of it, right? Everybody likes the animals that can walk on 2 legs and put clothes on them. That's part of our pop culture in America that's been around. In there's a dozen different examples that we could do that are very... When they hear about this, they flash back to their favorite cartoon or their favorite graphic novel, and there's so many to choose from that you'll hear a lot of different people that have really good from a different competing company at the time, and or from novels and books and stuff like that. There's many different sources of that type of stuff out there, and this was Magic the Gathering trying to do their Magic take on it. The art's pretty good. The card designs are fairly good. The synergies, of course, with each animal set are inarguable. So, does anybody have any complaints? Let me know. As always, we thank our Patreon, Subject, and we invite you to like and subscribe and leave a comment on anything if you have a question. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.